Hey, and welcome to Witchcrafty. This has been a long time request since I first started my channel to delve into the world of Five Nights at Freddy's Funko customs. This is my gingerbread Bonnie custom, which is based on an edit by the user Withered Kenny on Reddit of a chocolate Bonnie. Here's a list of everything you'll need. If you change the two body colours, you can of course create a chocolate Bonnie instead. Pause here if you need to. The pattern is available for free for my DeviantArt and my Pinterest. It's the second link in the description. Make sure to follow the key in the top left corner to help you when cutting the pieces out. The first thing you need to do is align the belly piece to the curve of the body piece and sew it together only around the curve. Fold the body piece in half so it's tracing side up and place the back body sides together and sew them together along this edge only. Align the middle pieces to the back body and sew them just below the armhole and sew the shortest straight edges on either side down the back body. After that, align the bottom body to the belly curve and sew it to the straight edge of the bottom piece. Once done, sew the curve of the bottom piece to the back of the body. Fold the leg piece in half so it's wrong side up and sew it together along the shortest width edge to form a tube. Repeat with the second leg piece. Do the same method with the arm pieces as you did with the leg pieces. Once done, align the foot pieces to each of the straight edges of the legs and sew it on. Repeat with the second leg. Do the same method with the hand and arm pieces on each straight edge. Align the legs to the leg holes of the body so that the seam of the tube is beside the bottom seam of the belly and join it on around the hole. Once joined, align the arms to each armhole so the seam is on the bottom of the arm beside the middle body strip you joined earlier. Repeat with the second arm. Then flip the body upright and stuff it thoroughly. For the head, sew up the darts on the bottom of the jaw. Then sew up each of the darts on the muzzle. Align the muzzle to the curved edge of the jaw so a small part of the side below the dart joins in with it, and sew it together so only the top curve stays open. Take the top headpiece and fold it in half so the rectangles meet, and sew them together along the straight edge. This should create a seam in the middle of the piece, and push the rectangle you just joined so it closes the gap, and sew up the gap. Then align the bottom part of this piece to the top of the muzzle and sew it along the curve and along a small part of the jaw marked off by the dart on each end. Before you join the back, take two opposing earpieces and trace where you want the inner ear markings to go. On the finished side, use a running or a back stitch and the markings you just made to sew the inner ear pieces onto each ear. Take one ear with the inner ear and one without and place them together with the tracing showing, and sew them around the curve, leaving the straight edge open. Once done, flip it upright and stuff it if necessary. Repeat with the second ear. take the back headpiece and sew up the darts. Align the curves of the jaw to the back head and begin sewing it on so that all tracing shows. Do this so that you leave the bottom straight edge open. When you've nearly reached the top, tuck in each earpiece so it points inwards and is facing the right way so it faces the head front when flipped, and sew it in along the seam. When you've closed off the remaining curved side of the jaw, flip it upright and stuff it. Pin the head to the body and use an invisible stitch to join it on. Place the two nose pieces together, tracing side up, and begin joining them together. When you've almost reached the end, flip it upright and close off the gap with an invisible stitch. Use an invisible stitch to sew it onto the top of the muzzle. Then take two button pieces and place them together with the tracing showing and begin sewing them together. Leave enough gap, then flip it upright and use an invisible stitch to sew up the gap. Repeat the same with the remaining two buttons. Use an invisible stitch and matching thread to sew each one evenly to the body. Take the bow piece and fold it in half, tracing side up, and sew it along one shorter width side and the longest width side. Once done, flip it upright and close off the last straight edge with an invisible stitch. Then, do the same method with the bow tie. When joined, secure the tie around the bow with an invisible stitch. Sew this on using the same method just below the neck. For the eyes, sew up the dart on each eye white piece. Then use a running or a backstitch to sew the colours to the centre of the white pieces. In the centre of this, sew the black pupils onto each one. And lastly, on the right hand side of each pupil, sew the glint on. Fold in the seam allowance of each eye and pin it to the head and use an invisible stitch to sew it on. When you've almost reached the end of each one, stuff it to give it shape, then close off each one. Take each tail piece and sew up the dart on each side. Once done, place two pieces together, tracing showing, and begin sewing them together. When you've almost closed off the tail, flip it upright and stuff it. Close off the gap with an invisible stitch. And lastly, use an invisible stitch to sew it to the back of the body. And that is how you make a Funko inspired bunny custom. Make sure you like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video, and comment down below on ideas like to see me make next. While you're at it, why don't you go check out my videos? I upload new videos every single week. Thanks for watching, bye!